Check it. I teach a game design course and get to watch dozens of students pound out ideas over the course of about 3 months. As I watched this happen over the semester, I noticed something. Every developer had something they were hyperfixated on. One kid only wanted to make games about surviving on an island. Another was obsessing over dragons. I even noticed in myself that I always make games about grids. Every developer gets fixated on all sorts of weird things, and this, I have come to realize, is what makes games feel original. My hope is that by the end of the video, you can 1. Understand what you're hyperfixated on, and 2. How to leverage this fixation to help you make a truly original masterpiece. I'm Payne Robinson. Welcome to my channel. Let's talk about hyperfixations. Before you can understand what your hyperfixation is, let me first give you an example of a hyperfixation that I have. I'm very fixated on grids. I don't really know why, but I remember the first time I saw a grid. It was the Minecraft crafting square. I just remember feeling excited at the possibility of possibility. This grid felt like a magic box. It would limit what you put inside of it, but it could give you infinite possibilities in return. The excitement and inspiration of this experience is something I feel whenever I see a grid in any game. It's a type of design that makes me want to make games. People tend to look at making a game in terms of choosing a genre, but what if you choose to follow a mechanic and slowly figure out how to build a fun game around a hyperfixation on that mechanic? You'd end up with something much more original than if you decided to blindly follow genre conventions. By choosing a genre, you start by building your game around mechanics and templates that you might not even like, but that's the way it's done, and so you do it. By focusing on your obsession, by hyperfixating on something only you can truly understand, you end up with something wholly weird and completely original. This does not come easy. You can't simply choose a weird mechanic and expect it to be fun. Like I said at the top, I am very fixated on grids, but I've had to create 7 different games using that mechanic until I found something that was actually addictive, original, and fun. Anyone can develop an original masterpiece, so long as they identify their hyperfixation and iterate on it. So fine then, a hyperfixation is a mechanic or style that you really like and are fixated on. And by hyperfixating on your hyperfixation, you can make something really original. But you might ask, how do I find my own hyperfixation? Well, friends, the answer is twofold. Play more and listen more. By playing more games, you'll get exposed to new mechanics and styles that will spark your obsessive developer impulses. I believe we as developers feel this as inspiration. For example, Cruelty Squad has this weird reloading mechanic that stems from the developer's hyperfixation on making a game that goes against every normal mode of control in a game. You've got to move the mouse backward by holding the aim button, which is usually the scope button, the right mouse button in every other shooter, and you pull your mouse back and push it forward, and that's how you reload every gun in this game. It completely goes against all normal genre conventions, but when I was exposed to this, it made me understand that I'm fixated on new ways of controlling things. I've mentioned this in previous videos, like in UFO 50, Mooncat was one of my favorite games, and it did something similar. Playing games like these are great ways to get inspired and to watch masters of game design follow their hyperfixations to an original masterpiece. Listen to yourself as you play games. What do you get fixated on? Nothing is too small. A UI element, the colors of a text, the mining minigame in Fortnite. Zero in on one of these and create some small experiences around them. Okay, great. You've played a lot of games, you're hyperfixated on something, now what? How then do you leverage this to make something original? Well, as I mentioned earlier, most developers set off to make a game with a certain genre in mind, a platformer or a horror game. They then look at all the games they have played and copy what they've seen. Now, on some level this is good. It's okay to have a baseline to work off of, but this can limit how original your game feels if you don't have a fixation that helps your game stand out from other games. Let's take a look at Norp Apolog. Norp is an incremental idle game. It is a genre characterized by players buying lots of upgrades and doing minimal active interfacing with the game. Most idle games are made by web developers who can't or don't want to draw sprites, and so they look like this. Enter Norp. The human that made this was hyper-focused on little guys and making little guys build and break stuff. If he was focused on mechanics of idle games, he would have made a game that looked like this. Instead, the focus was on the little guys and how funny and how fun it was to watch them do their little guy things. This focus on little guys stands out from every other idle game on the market and helped Norp Apolog sell over 500,000 copies. Micah was able to leverage his hyper-focus on little guys to make something original while still following genre norms. He spoke about how it took him a few months to iterate on little guy mechanics and make something that his girlfriend thought was fun. But after a few iterations, the game came out and was pleasantly received because of how original it was. There are plenty of other examples of this happening. Arctic Eggs is one I showed gameplay of earlier and I played recently. This game is very fixated on the mechanics of cooking food in a non-stick pan, and also eggs. It rules. Cruelty Squad, as I mentioned before, is Hitman, but with a hyper-focus on being as disturbing and weird as possible. I hesitate to mention Balatro here because every other dev channel mentions Balatro, but Balatro and its fixation on cards helps to blow up a new subgenre of casino roguelites. Get fixated, go forth, find what you can't stop thinking about, and make something cool and original. Heck, doing it this way just might make the process that much more fun for you. All right, yo. Thanks for tuning in again. This has been Payne Robinson. The comments on my last video were wild. I went from like 500 subscribers to 1,500 in like a week. It was crazy. You guys are all super awesome, cool developer people. Please share below what you're working on, what you're hyperfixated on. If you'd like to check out the demo of the game that I'm working on, I've had lots of great feedback on that. The links for that are in the description. I also had lots of people asking about music, the music for this video, links posted in the description for that. The Game Boys Advance podcast that I was running before is still up. I don't appear on that one as much anymore because I've started to focus on this YouTube channel and the book podcast. I'm sorry, lots of people were excited about the book podcast, strangely enough. That one has been put on hold again because of this YouTube channel, but I do plan on going back and doing a book podcast. We just gotta build up some more followers here so I can go full time and make some cool stuff for you people. But thank you again for supporting me. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for making cool things. I will answer every comment that you make on this video. So please ask questions, share what you're making. Be cool, make cool things. Peace.